Hello and welcome to All My Art and Soul. I'm Michelle Holden. If you're here for the first time, welcome. And this is all about abstract art journaling, mixed media, and affirmation art journaling. Right here you're seeing two 8x8-inch mixed media abstract collages, and this is where we're going to be starting this week. So I've been focusing on texture as beginning layers, and this is where the journey has led to. So why I showed the previous videos images, and for this one, for this week, the 4 paintings, as you can see, the same 8x8 inch heavy paper. It's like a printing paper. I taped them together. I put a layer of gesso on, just like I did with those 2 previous. If you haven't seen them, check out the previous 2 videos. Started the same with the nickel azo gold. But this time I spritzed it a little bit more, and then I ended up using a little bit of acrylic inks. Now, they're pretty powerful, so I made a note to myself. And I sort of sped these up a little bit at the beginning, and just to get us through to that stage, but I didn't want you to miss how I got there. And that's always frustrating when you're learning. That was alcohol spray, and it lifts, and especially acrylic paint that's almost dry. And you can use it once your paper is protected with gesso. So that's one really good thing. It's almost like a skin right now. And once I have enough layers down, which you'll see at the end of the video, or before the end of the video actually, then I take them apart, and then I start working on them individually, but still together in a series. So this is a quick way, 4 paintings, how to start with 4, and here we go. So I'm just showing you the paints, I'm showing you my stencils, and the paint colors I always list in the comments below the video, so check out that information. Also, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, share with friends, fellow creatives, and check out our Facebook group. We are well over 500 now, and I've also got a new shop open, and I think at the end of the videos, I'll start to just display one of the products that I use, that I have, all over print products, and we've got to promote where we can. They're fabulous. So as you can see, these are some of them are Stencil Girl products. Others are not. I just got at the art store, especially that crackle one, which I love, but I use it sparingly. So the nickel azo and the ink is just so powerful. Now that I've compared the 2 starts, the previous video and this one, I like the previous one first because I scraped more of the paint or the color off and really revealed more of the texture, which is of the gesso, of the scratching and scoring through with my awl and different small screwdriver, whatever you can find and use. And I liked it much better. So what I've been doing, I thought, I make so much art, you forget how you start. So I went back in the video just before doing the voiceover right now, and I thought, okay, I forget how I started, because now that I've finished, or almost finished these, I call it the 4 square, I'm liking the other better. What did I do differently? And what I did differently is I didn't use the stencils in the beginning layers, all the black that's going on now, which is fine, which I like, but it didn't have the same feeling. And that's what I really wanted. That's what I really liked from those 2. And those were just an experiment between an experiment. And I'm so glad that I did that. I just was checking out those colors to see what they would look like. And of course, I used the same color palette for the 4 paintings from start to finish in this week's video, part 1. So stay to the end, and don't forget to leave a comment, like, subscribe, and let's get started here. So numbers, marks, I think in hindsight now, I would have preferred, there's the difference again, in size. I should have, shoulda, coulda, woulda, used larger numbers, and which I have in a cardboard, and they're above the my working area there. And I'm showing you that certain sponges work so much better in stenciling, leaving that nice crisp edge. And I'm loving the lettering and the font of this particular stencil. I just wish I had some variety and size. So we are going to work on that. And so here we are. I just thought I'd show you how I got there. There's last week's, the 2, and I just love them. And what I had to do is I had to sit and think about, okay, what is it that I love about them? And what I did is I love the texture, the openness, and the very loose, the many different layers of colors that I could have used with the texture of the gesso, and then scraping it off more than I am here with this very opaque layer of teal. So this is teal, golden product. And so there's the water spritzing, and it works really well, especially if your paper is protected with gesso. So that's what I do too. I use the wedge, come in, and really almost perpendicular to the page, to the surface, is the way you really scrape that off. And then I wasn't really worrying about it, because at this point, I'm just laying down color. I've not worked this particular, with these particular first layers, the stenciling being first and the marks and the very high contrast. So I didn't know what I wanted to cover and what I didn't want to cover. So I'm just going in blind. Leave a comment below if you like that feeling or you do not like that feeling. It's like, whoa, this is just crazy new territory, right? And this is something that that we do in our art that reflects things, that reflects the similar feeling in our life, you know, taking risks, trying crazy things. And these colors are pretty crazy in this layering. So that is the cadmium orange. It is cadmium yellow hue. It's pretty powerful too. And I like those two together to make different oranges, calming them down either with the white, of course, or the other neutral paint there. So noticing too, with this orange and that blue, they sure neutralize. And now I'm just going, okay, I don't know what I want to cover. I just, you know. So this is where we need to build our repertoire. This is what I'm referring to. And of course, my other artists that I'm learning from, my mentor artists. A repertoire of marks, but it's even more repertoire of different layers. So I'm finally getting there. I've made some decisions as to what I like, and I'm going to stick with it. And it's not so much the beginning layers of these 4, but they really turn out really cool. And so stay to the end. Give it a chance, just like I should. So we have the ochre. I'm not liking ochre right out of the tube. It's at least with these colors, so I need to soften it. Sometimes I'll mix it right on the substrate. Maybe I could pre-mix it on the glass palette right there. And some of you have asked where to get the glass palette, kitchen stores. They usually come in 3 different sizes. So I have the smallest one for my jelly plate printer, so it stays well protected, and I cover it, which reminds me I've got to cover it because I've just cleaned it up. And then, so going in with some marks. So you cover everything up too much, then you come back. So there's this back and forth going on with the layers of the marks that speak to you. And this is where the uniqueness of your voice will show through, will shine through. But you gotta like it, right? And I don't mind this piece. This is just a playful piece because it's such unknown territory. So I'm just going to take a sip of water. I don't know if you noticed my voice or whatever. Throat's a little harsh, but we're doing this anyway. So this is the aluminum pipe, and I really like the crisp edges it makes with the black, as long as I leave the black paint thick and leave it alone. Notice I'm going across where each piece is taped, where each edge meets, so that there's a little bit of the same on each one. So there's coherence, uniformity and all of that. And then again, I'm going to treat each piece in quadrants. At least that's the start. Now, the previous one, the one with that sort of bird going across the sky, that was just such a neat shape. I couldn't think of that shape. And I really love when I stay horizontal with some vertical within the horizontal color fields. So I'm discovering my favorites and the feeling that I'm looking for my next series. So I am going to go back to that, what would we call it? Those style of layers. I still love my stencil girl dots. Oh, look at the tools that I'm using. I found these and I know some of you I gave a sneak peek Facebook group. So hop over to the Facebook group and you get content that I do not show, or I show first in our group. This week, coming up, which is tomorrow, Sunday, I need, along with this style or this feeling that I'm talking about, certain collage papers. And we're going to start making some. And they're all going to be the same color palette. So we need to have, it's not going to be monochromatic. It might have like a hero color in there, but not a lot. And teal and turquoise and some neutral white and black. All right, so these kids' stamping tools are awesome. I tell you, I wish I could buy a whole great big kit for my class. They would have fun. Mind you, I was painting with them on Friday, and I always love to do that at the beginning of the year. And they were a little shy with it, and so we'll just have to keep working with them. So here's more of the opaque white. So it's interesting. Even though your intentions may be the same, results really change. So how do we get more of that consistency in our artwork? And my suggestion is, and this is just going back, watching that video that I'm just talking about, and just playing with the order of certain layers and changing it up slightly, seeing what changes you can get, but just working with that for a little while with the texture and the scraping and that feeling, and then the collage and images that I have planned that I want to use. So it's all a feeling. I'm finally putting it all together, and I can't wait to start. So as you can see, the little red knob tool up there, it's really, really textury. And I'm just now playing. So I've left the thinking. We don't want to think. But this sponge, it is so wonderful with the stencils. You know, I'm just going cuckoo here. I just want to have enough dots on each one. There's the organic plant kind of thing. And that's a stencil girl. And when you first get them in the mail, they look so frail, the stencils. But wow, they're amazing. Excuse me. Okay, so here comes some numbers. I wanted some to still show through. Some are being buried. And I need to find myself some nice big ones. Wow, those are very nice and clear. Very nice. So much fun. I just had to get those. Oh, in the comments below, what are the strangest tools you've really liked? Not that the children's art tools are strange. That isn't the point. But, you know, something, wow, really surprising, worked really well. I would love to hear that. And I know a lot of you are responding to those comments, so that's pretty cool. Okay, so now the yellow tape still stuck to it, but I believe it's because of the what this paper is. It's not the greatest paper, but it's thick, and it's just good for experimenting. Yes, never mind peeling the paint. Why you do that when you can use an X-Acto knife? Right. And then we'll start treating each one as an individual here, which is really cool. So there you go. So you've got 4 paintings started. Great consistency, similar but yet different. And there's my other 2. You can see how by not starting with stencils, more line and just feeling and that horizontal, that openness. That's what I'm looking for. But I really love these. These are sort of funky. They're very playful. And it's great because, you know, building our repertoire of mark making, layering, what we like, what we don't like, differences, right? All right. So we're back again, and now, so that was a drawing overnight. I let it sit, and then I gathered some collage. So the collage layer was next. So let's go through the layers again. Gesso texture, thin transparent, warmer cool tone, scraping it off so you can see the texture. Then coming in with stencils. You could also come in with pencil marks or more line rather than the stencils, which I'm going to do instead. Then paint, and then playing back and forth, building, veiling, and then stenciling again. So that's what we've done up to this point. And now you'll find, so that's just still the beginning stage. And this is still the beginning stage. This is just the later beginning stage. Now that we've got enough down, what do we do with it? That's the question. There's so many possibilities. You could use this background, make shapes, outline with black, white, and make these really amazing shapes or areas. Come in with solid, and then even start that whole layering process that you did at the beginning in those areas again. So it's endless. I'm playing with warm and cool here. I'm waiting to see some shapes develop. So I'm really, right now you can see I'm just putting down some values. I'm veiling things that, well, you know, I've got too much yellow. Let's have a lighter value here. And that's as much as I'm thinking. And if things got to go, fine. And then I'm responding. Yeah, and I don't like that. So, quieting it down. So what do I want to quiet down? Well, you just save the areas that you really like, quiet down other areas. So you want to quiet down, so we're thinking quadrants, so 3-4 different areas. Each quadrant you want, and they haven't even shown themselves yet. The piece of the upper right, 1, 2, 3, 4 there. I've got that arch over those circles, which I really like. But at that point, I don't know what I want to do with those. So right now, I'm just thinking value. Where do I want some light? Where does it need to be quieted down? Maybe I want to lighten up, but still use blue here. And then a shape will appear. It's mostly rectilinear shapes, which I really love. Lifting. I could have used my color shaper there as well. And then what I do is I just put one to the side, let it dry while I'm working on this one. Because at this point, I don't like to see all 4 in front of me. It's too busy. And I've got lots of circles, as you can see. A variety in the size of circles, now that I look at it, would have been better. At least one big one or a part of a circle on each. That would have been, I'm not really digging those black marks, so I'll end up covering them up with maybe a nice big piece of collage. So this is where you can come in with larger pieces of collage of a light value, sort of carrying down, going in the corner. And then there's where you can start finding shapes will start appearing with your collage pieces as they relate to the layer behind them. If it's an equal value or a high contrast area. And I'm not thinking of focal points or anything like that at this point. Oh, that's really good. That was good. That just feels better. And you know right away when something feels better. Much, much better. That row of circles, I believe, ends up disappearing anyway, which was great. So now you can see some areas as I'm carrying the blue over from beneath the black polka dots. Okay, then I let that dry. And it's so great we can go back and forth and work on these 4 coherent pieces. Oh, I really like the difference in value of the blue with the lighter circles with the dark. Okay, and then I bring them together. I haven't even decided which direction they're going to be situated at this point. I'm just still adding layers. Playing with value, quieting down areas until I see some shapes appear. And shapes meaning like the quadrants, like, oh, this looks good here, so we'll continue, we'll pick up this line. I never did end up using that. It just didn't go. The black and white idea, yes, but not that particular line or shape. Still loving the colors, very bright. That's more of a red, but it might go right in there with the orange. That's where I would put it. As you can see, there's a little bit of red there. Black and white, but now it's so busy. If I go and attempt to put any black and white on these, they're already busy enough. So that's why they need to be quieted down. Now, do you quiet them down with light? What value do you use? Neutral? Take away some things? So right now I'm starting to use some collage pieces with the similar colors, just finding where it's going to fit. Okay. Interesting. I like that. Vertical. And when I'm creating collage papers lately and I'm using the stencils, I'm finding the hard-edged, it looks like a commercial stencil piece. I'm not happy with those. So that's why I'm going to start a whole series of creating your own collage. That's really you. And so stay tuned. Of course, there'll be part 2 of this video, of this series. The, what am I calling it? 4 paintings, start to finish, part 1. There will be a part 2, and then that's it. And then we're moving into a whole new series and much larger work. We'll start tiny, though, with our collages so we can get used to them. Tiny is in, 8 by 8. I'll use the same, I might as well use the same paper. But I'm going to gesso, texture, and I'm going to start the same way. Anyway, back to this work. So many ideas. Okay, loving my deli paper. That's one thing I won't change with the black. But the types of marks that I do are I'm going to add to that. So as you're veiling, that was a really nice effect. You can see the squares still under those circles. I'm referring to the lower left-hand corner there. So you have this now, this repetition of pattern starting to happen. I'm not so, I don't like those polka dots, those exact same polka dot. I love the Stencil Girl polka dots better. So anyway, just saying. Not bad. Still very busy. So yes. So now, there you go. So now this is the first piece that has started to reveal. See, as I go, the quadrants just start to show up now. And I'll turn, and I like the 1, 2, 3, 4, and I love it. Perfect. And not until you have enough, and you've altered some values, meaning, let's clarify that, pushing some layers back and bringing some others forward, then all of a sudden you see these, they reveal themselves. That is the coolest thing. I love abstract art. It's just incredible. Leave a comment of how much you love abstract art and all the challenges it presents. It is amazing. Okay. Sometimes I realize I'm just working below. So then I look at I look at my phone, which is there, and I have all my equipment there. And I go, oh, I got to move that up. So that's the tricky part when I'm working on 4 pieces in my little area. And I move the camera up. So, of course, it has a wider span of working area. But then when I'm working on one piece, it's not close enough. So this video, next week's video, I zoom right in when I'm working on each piece individually. So it's way better. This isn't bad, though. Okay, so the peachy circles, I like how they're going across, like totally across the whole thing. It's just that we just need something else. Oh, and there's that more of a reddish orange piece. That was just, as you can see, the glass palette, when I'm like, paint's almost run out and it's still wet, I'll put a piece of newsprint right over and lift it. And I can get the best impressions that way, and of course use the paint up. I do not like wasting this expensive paint. And I'm just playing around right now. So I'm almost at the end of this session, and I always know if I start just playing and I'm not really getting any really strong response, then it means that I've reached this session. They need to sit for a day or two before I go back in and get at them again. So this is just an edge of the gessoed piece, and it is so cool because it's almost like a leathery feeling once you put the gesso on this paper. I just love it. And I do end up using this piece, but in part 2. So stay tuned. There's the deli paper again. And that's just using one of those big fan brushes or big brushes with black paint, watered down a little bit so I can spread it across the paper and make sure that it doesn't bubble. So, and I've mentioned before in my other videos that deli paper can be pretty delicate. And using my finger, I really like that. Making sure there's all 3 values in your piece too. I've been really paying attention to that more, but not until the end, you know, when they're in front of you. Then you can go, okay. Thinking about all those things during it would not be, I would not want to do that because I want to react. I want this to be an intuitive process. But at the end, you spin out and then you do a quick assessment, and there's certain little things that you want to look for. Do I have a light, medium, and dark values? I would say yes. But with the white, with the finger, it was a lot lighter and depends, okay, that's great. Is it in the best place? Do I want it in that area? And that's when you come to the end, you're tweaking. And of course, that last stage is a lot slower. But we're not going to worry about that now. I'm just glad that I thought of it at the time. Extremely colorful pieces, I must say. I don't want them to stay this colorful. I want them to calm down a little bit more. But just how I go about that, well, so there's, right now, I'm just paying attention to the quadrants that I want to pick up. Some are narrower, some are wider, and it's just a natural thing. They just show up, and then I usually stick to that. So when I'm selecting my rectilinear collage papers, I either tear them, of course, you've seen me, or cut them. Near the shapes, the quadrants that I want to pick up. For instance, as you can see here, you can see the quadrant areas way clearer now. So I have the upper left one is red, below it, it picks up that line, and then the one on the upper right is a turquoise, and it's below. So my collage pieces, when I'm putting them on there, as I'm pointing to the different quadrants here, I will pick up those lines, either vertical or horizontal, with any particular collage piece that I want to put in that quadrant. And then it redefines it, and it belongs in that area, as well as, of course, you know, uniformly or coherently works in the whole entire piece. So it's pretty cool that way. And as I come to the end of this video, I hope you're enjoying the content and the series. So please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Check out our Facebook group. And also check out my website and my new shop. All of these links are in the description below. And as you can see, I'm just finishing up with some line, which is a great contrast with with shape. So I will see you in the next video.